Are we live?
Yeah,
Are we live?
Yeah, it's all good. We can let's get it.
All right.
Welcome to Red Pill Discourse. This week we're gonna get into some things. We're just kind of like, obviously, we're gonna talk about the big things going on in Afghanistan. We're gonna get into some podcast, gossip, I guess, or theories. A podcast theories. Call it theories.
Yeah. Supposed things going on in the world, but yeah, you brought up Afghanistan. Obviously, it's a hot topic this week with the Taliban.
First and foremost, our hearts are out to everybody in Afghanistan. The people of Afghanistan, the Americans trapped in Afghanistan who got left there, especially Californians. I heard that. Wasn't there some like missionaries from Chino Hills or something?
Yeah, apparently there's a group of upwards of 200 church people from, sorry, I don't know the correct lingo terminology, but church people from a Calvary Chapel in Chino Hills, which is in California, who are stuck in Afghanistan. And apparently, people are asking for prayers to go out to them because there's a possibility that they could be harmed by the Taliban for their views on Christianity. They were out there for a good
possibility.
Yeah, they're out there for a mission. So I guess they're missionaries in a sense. So yeah, our hearts go out to them as well as the people of Afghanistan. What's going on over there is extremely chaotic, and obviously the U.S. has a big part in that. So obviously the people of Afghanistan are going through some things, but obviously there's Americans stuck over there in Afghanistan that we also need to prioritize and get home safe. So Biden, whatever you need to do to keep our troops over there to get the civilians home safe, you fucking got to do it. So. But anyways, I think obviously everyone knows about that. It's pretty hot news.
Well, you saw the videos, right?
The people of rushing the Kabul airport.
Yeah. They're taking off in the plane full of people. They took as many people as they could, but obviously everybody couldn't fit, and there's people hanging on to the airplane.
Yeah, I seen that. That was crazy. I mean, just to see that on like CNN, like just to turn on the news. I was actually at the gym when I seen that, and I had to stop and I had to look, and I was like, wait, what's going on? And then, bro, like you said, people hanging from the plane, like climbing up. And obviously, like our airmen and we're like trying to bring as many people in as they could. Like, I guess they had been given orders not to, but they felt bad. They're full beings. So they packed those full as much as they could. And then even when the plane was taking off, videos of like people trying to hang off the wing, falling from the doors, like crazy stuff. Like that's outrageous. Obviously, nothing we have ever seen here.
It just shows how desperate.
Yeah, like that desperate mentality. Like, what is going on over there that someone feels like they need to risk their life hanging off of an airplane? Like,
well, I mean, I was seeing videos of the Taliban going door to door. I don't even know if it was the Taliban. It could have just been groups, And when chaos is happening, people will go and take advantage, use the opportunities to do evil. Some people do good, but mostly it's evil. If you like know history, usually it's evil. But groups of men going to like residential areas, knocking on people's door with guns in their hands, weapons, AKs, and just being like, look, we're going to take your daughters and they're going to be ours and we're going to do what we want with them. And that's just what it's going to be. Yeah. So it's just like, and people know what's going to happen. Like, you know what I mean? People understand what's going to happen. So they're just like, look, I'd rather just try to take my chances on this plane, I guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And what's crazy to me is like, there's like reports of like the leader, like some of the Taliban leaders who have taken over, obviously like doing interviews still saying like how the Taliban doesn't want any enemies and that no women will be harmed, but under Sharia law. Like within the parameters of Sharia law, like their interpretation of it, right? Like, and obviously the Taliban is an extremist group, so they've obviously taken liberty with interpreting Sharia law, and why their group is unique, because they're known for their brutalness. I mean, from their rise to power all the way up until 2001, before the U.S., drove them out of power, out of Afghanistan, like they were known for being extremely brutal in their interpretation of Sharia law. And they were, all of the casualties that happened to Afghan citizens was mostly at the hands of the Taliban. They were responsible for killing their own people.
What are you talking about? When? The whole war?
Up until 2001, when the U.S. invaded Afghanistan. And yes, and throughout the war.
Yeah, but the U.S. we claim a lot of lives as well.
Okay, am I saying that the U.S. is not obviously have their hands dirty? Of course they do. Within war, there's going to be casualties. There's going to be deaths. Obviously, they went over there for a specific reason because of obviously the attacks on the Twin Towers after 9/11. Like when you invade a country that has an extremist group in power, people are going to die. Like unfortunately, right? Something that we don't have. Obviously witnessing those horrors, but it happens right throughout history, like you said. Like evil things happen. War is not pretty, but all I'm saying is that it's proven and it's true that the Taliban were responsible for more of their people's deaths than we were. That's all I'm saying. That's a fact.
Oh, okay, I don't know.
I mean, it's not like the U.S. went around shooting civilians. Like when you've seen Afghan citizens and civilians dying, wasn't U.S. soldiers killing them?
I mean, but are they going to show that?
Maybe not.
But I'm just saying is I don't know, and I wouldn't doubt it. Is what I'm saying.
Okay, if you're going over there to fight the Taliban, why would you kill citizens? I'm not saying they didn't kill citizens, but why would you arbitrarily and intentionally go out and kill citizens?
I don't think it's that simple. I don't think it's that simple of like, let's just go over there and just not kill civilians or the same thing. Like when you have to look at that from their end, right? When you have invaders, they're not looking at us like, oh, we're Americans, so obviously we see it a different way. They're looking at us like these people are coming in our lands. They have more money than us. They're more equipped. They have more intelligence, like CIA and stuff like that. Intelligence, not like IQ intelligence.
Yeah, I get that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we have to defend our home turf.
Yeah, but that's
and
not
with
even
our lives and our families, and they're coming in to you know what I mean? Like they make mistakes. Stuff happens. I'm sure they bombed a couple hospitals on accident.
Bro, I'm not, and I think you're skewing my point. My point is that like Afghanistan was a Taliban run country. You're going over there to.
No, I'm saying no. I don't think any U.S. soldiers went over there to be like, I'm gonna start murdering civilians. But when you start going over there and people start pushing back, and it's not just the Taliban fighting you, it's the women, children, and everybody. And then
yeah, but the Taliban uses that to manipulate them as well. Like, oh, look at the Americans coming over here to obviously invade our country and ruin our ways. But at the end of the day, like
civilians are fighting in the war too, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly, and I get that. But all I'm saying is that the Taliban is not a good group. So
yeah, no.
Historically not a good group, right? So what I'm saying is my whole kind of circling back to my point is that I find it kind of like satire in a way that the leaders of the Taliban are saying like we don't want enemies, like we're gonna handle this peacefully, but like they are not historically or naturally a peaceful group of people.
Yeah, all of a sudden the Taliban has like a PR team and shit.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yo,
that's the only point I'm making. So
hey, all of a sudden the Taliban's making TikToks and shit.
Yeah,
they're like,
that's
here
what I'm
comes
saying.
the renegade. That's what the oldest.
That's what I'm saying is just that is what is like getting to me. It's like I said, it's just like kind of comical, like in obviously a very sad way.
Yeah, bro, 2021's a joke. It's all a joke now. It's all fucking.
So that was just the point I was trying to make, is that the Taliban's over here saying like, we're not going to harm women outside of like the parameters of Sharia law. Like we don't want to make any enemies. We just want to gain control of our country back. But it's like, how are you doing it? That's very, very odd, because historically your group is as a terrorist group. So that's all I'm saying. That was all the point I was trying to make. But anyways, I think you wanted to get into a specific specific
but I do want to say, but since we were talking about the Taliban was funded by the CIA. We trained them and taught them everything they knew, and then we let go of them as soon as they didn't have any. As soon as they didn't have any use to us anymore, we let go of them.
No, it wasn't use. It was just to drive the Soviets out of Afghanistan, and then after we accomplished that, they obviously were left to pick up the shambles of their country.
Yeah, but it's like I said, it's not that simple.
It is that simple. That's the reason why we went over there and trained and like gave them resources and guns and money. And
yeah, but Osama bin Laden, they knew about what was happening.
Osama bin Laden is from Al Qaeda.
Okay,
but what I'm saying is that you're talking about two different people. Like Osama bin Laden was the leader of Al Qaeda, not Taliban. They're different terrorist groups.
I know, but the Taliban was also involved with the CIA. They're both involved with CIA.
No, I get that. Osama bin Laden has links. That's why all of this, obviously, we can go into conspiracies, but he has links to the Bushes, obviously. So, like, they used to have dinners before 2001, September 11th, 2001, you know, like with that family. Like, that family was like royalty. But the point about it is that, like, your point is that, like, Al Qaeda is separate from the Taliban. They don't have they have like some history in Afghanistan, but they're not necessarily the group from Afghanistan. Taliban is.
I get what you're saying.
That's all I'm saying. But anyways, what was your point you were trying to make?
No, that was it.
Oh, okay.
The CIA thing.
Yeah, I forgot what operation was that. It was like back in the 70s.
The Taliban one?
Well, the covert CIA operation to go over there to drive Soviet forces out of Afghanistan, and to do that was to fund.
It was at the end of
fund the Taliban.
It was at the end of the Cold War when they started doing that, right? So we
I don't know the exact timeline, but that sounds about right.
Whenever Russia was out there.
Well, when they were still known as the Soviet Union.
Exactly.
So what was that operation, Paul? It was like Operation
Jawbreaker, maybe?
No. There's a specific name, and I know
What was the Operation Jawbreaker?
Coordinated campaign orchestrated by the United States CIA and primarily carried out by the Afghan Northern Alliance against ruling
Operation
Taliban.
Cyclone.
Oh, okay.
Operation Cyclone was the operation to fund the Guerrilla forces of Afghanistan to drive out Soviet Union influence in Afghanistan. And after that happened, once that was accomplished, then yeah, to your point, we just left them.
What year was Operation Cyclone? 1996?
It was in the 60s going into the 70s.
Oh, okay.
So that's why. So after that, that's when the Taliban
1979.
Yeah, that's when the Taliban obviously took over Afghanistan. Like, they grouped together. They were now They were like military trained. They had weapons, which allowed for their uprising going through the 80s and the 90s, all the way up until 2001.
So do you think if we just let's say, I really doubt it's gonna happen, but let's say the superpowers just leave Afghanistan alone for the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking superpowers. I'm talking about U.S., China, Russia.
Yeah, all the UN, pretty much.
Let's just say we just let them do their thing.
Yeah,
It's probably gonna be bad at first, but do you think it stabilizes? Do you think that they...
Well, it stabilizes only because the Taliban is going to take forcefully the control. No one's going to have any... no one's going to be able to rebel against them. No one has power there.
But there has to be more factions than just the Taliban.
Not really.
Don't they have...
They've got a chokehold on that country.
Don't they have armed forces in Afghanistan? They have that.
I'm sure there will be
army.
I'm sure there will be rebel people from the military and people who obviously oppose the Taliban, but the Taliban is
so it's going to become a narco state.
Yeah, it's going to be a terrorist country.
Terrorist narco state.
I mean, obviously, maybe we're not utilizing the right lingo.
Do they start doing business with Mexico?
I don't.
They already are probably.
Well,
but, I mean,
you're talking about in a illegitimate type of way, like drugs,
like a black market,
a black market of drugs.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think opium is their biggest GDP. Is it? I believe so.
It never used to be. Didn't they ban it at one point?
In 2000 they banned it, but it went higher. It's since 2000 it's the production has gone up by 4 times the amount than it has.
Opium or cocaine?
Opium. What are you talking about?
Oh, I don't know. You started talking about narcos in Mexico. I was all cocaine?
No. I said narco state.
I
but
get
it doesn't
what you
necessarily
mean.
have to be cocaine.
I get you. Oh, but you're talking about...
I said, will they do business with
I know,
Mexico.
But you're specifically saying that...
But Mexico's buying all the fentanyl right now, so I don't even know if they even want opium. They're producing a lot of fentanyl right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you're saying that
they could trade.
Afghanistan is going to become one of the world's biggest producers of opium. You're saying they already are.
They already are, but now under the Taliban.
Yeah. I don't know. I know that Afghanistan is a deposit of minerals. Have a huge deposit of minerals that
they have a lot of natural resources
there. But I never heard about the drugs. I don't know. Educate me on it. I don't know. It seems like you kind of were going somewhere with that.
Let's see. Paul, I think Paul's picking up. Let's see. What is he looking? He's looking at the GDP.
Yeah, this is the GDP.
Economy of Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Well, while he's looking that up, what is your point on that? Why would they get into the obviously the world drug business?
Well, because
it just seems I'm just saying because it seems counterproductive to
I'm not gonna go on to why. All I know is that
they're a religious extremist group.
In 1999, 2000, 1999, they were already producing a lot of the world's opium. I don't know how much exactly, but they're producing a good amount. Then they banned it in 2000, and production went down a lot, like it just dipped. And then, and I'm not saying this is why I went to war with them or whatever, but
conspiracy theorists, cover your ears.
In 2001, we go to war with Afghanistan. We start the longest war in United States history, and
it was actually more of a campaign. But yeah, go ahead.
And we go back. The production goes even higher than when it was before the ban.
Okay.
And since then, if I know correctly, it's gone up. So that was back in like 2001 to like 2019. It's more than quadrupled. So they're producing more than 80% of the world's supply of opium. Probably closer to 90.
So obviously you're talking about then more of a war of opportunity to profit off of like resources that Afghanistan had, and then utilizing. I mean, are you saying,
like I was saying, like I made that point when we started talking about this. I think that when chaos ensues, people use the chaos
as an opportunity
to
profit,
to profit over the or to do what they see fit.
Yeah, to push their agenda.
Just do what they want. Yeah. To just do what they want.
Can I make like a very large leap?
Huh. Wait, hold on. Can you pull up the article we had earlier, Paul? Or the one that.
Wait.
But before you go into off, let me just read this real quick.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me pull this up.
Fair enough.
So there's an article
that chart
from BBC.
Looks crazy. Paul, pour that chart up for the people so they can see what we're looking at. Is that opium production?
Yes, sir.
Over since 2001.
Go ahead and scroll up.
Dang.
Scroll up a little bit more. So record output. By 2017, the evidence of the Allied failure to contain opium production had become impossible to ignore. 4 days before Iron Tempest began in November 2017, the UN Office on Drugs and Crime, the UNODC, had announced the poppy cultivation had risen more than 120,000 hectares. How do you say that again?
Hectares
in a single season. You say it again?
Hectare. I don't know. Is that how you say hectares? Hectares.
Hectares.
120,000
hectares. All right.
Okay.
My bad about that. Hold on. When the new figures showed production had increased more than fourfold in 15 years. Now opium was being grown on 328,000. I don't know how to say this. 328,000 hectares, which is 1,266 square miles. Sorry, guys, I'm having a stroke.
Someone call 911. Okay, I get that. So that I did not know that. So that's an interesting fact.
Here's the chart. We'll pop it up.
Yeah, that's an interesting fact. So I think that's a good segue for me to say if I could leap somewhere. Then, are you saying that you're talking about opportunity? You're talking about obviously that being one of Afghanistan's biggest exports in the time that we've occupied their country. And is that too big of a coincidence for an opioid epidemic that we're currently going through?
I don't think it's a coincidence. I just think that it's a symptom or a result.
Coincidence? I think not. No, but that's my point is that so you're saying that the U.S. not only opium production not only grew exponentially while we were over there, but at the same time and during that same time frame, opioids in the U.S. started becoming an epidemic.
Yeah, for sure.
So
because
conspiracy theorists, cover your ears again. So you're saying that the U.S. actually was probably one of the main consumers of the opium and probably illegitimately was the plug for our pharmaceutical companies over here to.
I'm saying it's highly likely, especially when the pharmaceutical companies are lobbyists in our government, and also a lot of the ex-heads and ex-CEOs of these pharmaceutical companies actually sit on president's administration on cabinets, or they're also involved in our government heavily, or they're also in the pockets of our politicians. I would say it's very likely. I would say that
it's definitely too big to ignore.
For sure. I think the correlation there is pretty obvious, but I mean, some people are going to push back on it. Some people are going to be like, no, you're looking into it too much, or that's just But
yeah, you'd be called a conspiracy theorist, obviously, because you can't 100% prove it, but it's like blaring in your face that it's like.
I think you could. This one's pretty evident. Like it's you can, if you really dig into it, you can find evidence pretty well. It's not like one of those things where it's like.
Oh, I'm sure you could. Obviously, we don't have that research.
You just gotta follow. You just gotta follow the money.
Well, yeah. I mean,
we could. If you guys want an episode, we'll follow the money. We'll do it. But it's,
then we might not have a podcast after that.
Yeah, whatever.
We'll get assassinated.
Yeah, it's all right. We'll get whacked like McAfee.
No, but like, so that was the leap that I was going to make, which obviously, could be true. I guess air quotes around that. But it's just very odd that like now we're pulling out of Afghanistan. Like, why now? Is it because we again, like back in the 70s, we're done. We've gotten what we needed from that country, and we're just gonna let them take care of themselves now?
Partly, and I think because public opinion on it has dropped so low that
no one cares about it anymore.
They know no one cares, and they don't really. And it's not that they care that no one cares. I just think they've been getting so much pushback lately that they're just like, we don't need more things. They're just trying to please us a little bit, trying to like just, you know what I mean?
Well, that word pleases irritates me. Not the fact that you said that, but the fact that I kind of believe that to be true, except the way that Biden has gone about it is kind of
appease is a better word, maybe. I don't know.
It's not even the word. I'm just saying that maybe it was done because the American public and our view on our stand and like our occupying Afghanistan has changed, and we do want our American troops to be pulled out of there. But what irritates me about it is the way that Biden has gone about it. Like, he kind of had to backtrack because he kind of like just made a rash decision to pull all of American troops out very quickly. And it didn't seem like there was really a great plan in place to make sure and secure the safety of the American citizens that were there. No. And now that he's getting backlash, of course, he's like, oh, no, don't worry about it. We're going to keep troops there as long as it takes to get people out, as long as it happens by August 31st.
Yes.
So that's what irritates me, is that, like, even if it was true that they did it because, like, for the right reasons, because that's what the American public wanted, like, the way that they executed it was very poor. And now, I don't know, potentially American lives being lost. Except, I think that the Taliban's a lot more intelligent. They see things going their way, and obviously, without the U.S. being in the country to, like, interfere with them, would be in their best interest. So I think that may be the only thing that will ensure the safety of the American people, because if they just go start killing American citizens, like, we're going to have to obviously react to that and stay and prolong things. So I think maybe was like more political reason for them not to kill Americans, even if they may want to. But I just think it's very odd that now, like, Biden is having to backtrack and say, like, oh no, don't worry, like, we always had plans to, like, keep our forces there until the American public is out, because we have anywhere from 10 to 15,000 Americans that are still there that need to get safely home. But it just, like, in his interviews and when he talks about it, you could very much tell, like, it was an afterthought. Like, oh, great, you're pulling the troops out. What about the 10 to 15,000 American citizens that are there? Oh yeah, we got them. Don't trip. Send them back. We forgot the people.
What are y'all doing in Afghanistan?
What are y'all doing?
10 and 15,000? Are y'all visiting family, or what are you guys doing?
Yeah, like Afghanistan's the country to be in, to be sightseeing and touring.
Shit.
That shit is like, what are you going to see? Like a bunch of fucking hot rocks?
Hot rocks.
What does Afghanistan have? I mean, I'm sure they probably have some great things that I don't know about, so I don't want to be insensitive, but I'm just saying, like, to your point, why are you in Afghanistan, especially when it has this much turmoil?
Yeah, 10 to 15,000 Americans, like, they have to be visiting family. It's the only thing I can think of.
Well, you got missionaries, or look at if it's true.
Yeah, but all of them are missionaries?
Nah, they're not all missionaries, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, they're there for specific reasons, maybe, but I agree. What are you doing in a country that is that chaotic?
Yeah.
So anyways, I hope that they get home safe. I hope that Biden keeps his promise. And even if it does need to be extended beyond August 31st to keep our troops there so that every single American person gets home safe, then I hope that is what is the action that's taken, because even one, like, person not getting home safe is, in my opinion, obviously, like, can't happen. So, like, there can't be no, like, sacrificing, like, oh, we got we got 11,000 people out. The other 4,000, we got most of them out. Like, no, like it needs to be every single one. Like, could you imagine being an American citizen and then just being told like, yeah, you're gonna have to figure it out, and like how scary that is. Like, if there are people that are like currently in Taliban like control and are like at potentially like going to be beheaded or killed because of their views or because they're American, that's scary. I mean, I couldn't even imagine that. So I mean, like I said, hearts and prayers go out, but what is that really going to do? We need swift action by the president. That's all I'm saying. So obviously controversial, but that's my opinion on it. I hope Biden does what he needs to do to ensure that. And I saw an interview today with Trump, and he made a very good point on that as well. It was like who pulls out the military before all your American people are out of there? Like the military needs to be the last people to leave that country, because the minute you pull American forces out, things are gonna start fucking popping off, as we've seen. But it's gonna be much worse than this. It's going to be much worse than people clinging to planes and stuff. Like, Taliban's being civil right now because there's a lot of hot eyes, and obviously I'm sure they're intelligent enough to see that, like, if they start doing some crazy shit while all the eyes are on them, like, they're going to get backlash, and people are going to want, their view on us staying there is going to change maybe. So they're obviously going to wait for things to kind of calm down, for America to really pull out. There's like the eyes are starting to shift away, boom, and then the Taliban's going to really turn the heat up to get back in power.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see. Hopefully they do get the Americans out. But yeah.
Yeah, but
shout out to the military too, man. I know a lot of people in the military are thinking like, oh, we all this hard work we did and everything, and like shout out to you guys for going out there and doing what you believe was right. Well, I mean, and it does suck. It's a shitty position to be in, for sure. But I don't know, like, how many times, like, the government needs to prove to you guys they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what they need to keep doing. Like, they do it to everybody. And in military, police officers, it doesn't matter, like, who you are. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, obviously, there's going to be a lot of controversy around, like, how we treat our military. I mean, a society, it's very important for us to celebrate our military, which is true. But, like, the benefits they get after, like, the care that they get, like, what they get paid, like, it doesn't really show that we actually do feel that way, that we should really take care of them. I don't know. I'm a very big proponent, and I back, like, veterans and people who have gone into the military and have gone out to tour, like, have toured, that they deserve to be taken care of for the rest of their life. And like they deserve healthcare, they deserve mental wellness, like all of that stuff. And so shout out to Manny said, shout out to you guys that, have gone and done and seen things beyond our comprehension. I hope you guys make it back safe too, but at least you knew what you signed up for. So I hope that, you guys stay over long enough to get our people back. And I'm sure they would, any person in the military would agree with that. Like, that's what I signed up for. Like, I should be the one to make sure that, like, my people get back home safe. So I'm sure they are torn between following orders and being a good soldier and just being a good human being, which is why you saw videos of them just letting people on the planes. And I commend those people that didn't just say, well, no, like, we were told not to do this. Like, okay, they made a very high judgment decision to let people on it, and I think they made the right one.
Yeah, like you said, the world is watching, so we're gonna see what happens, plays out in the next couple few weeks, basically the beginning of fall. I'm pretty sure. Hopefully, as peaceful as possible. But
yeah, well, hopefully. But I mean, obviously, you're dealing with a group that has very extremist views on their interpretation of Sharia law. So I feel really. I mean, for men and on children, obviously, but I feel really. My heart goes out for the women that are probably going through unspeakable things right now.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think we should wrap it up on that one.
Yeah, I'm good on that one.
We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll come back to it. Hopefully we'll have to come back to it.
Let us know what you guys think about it. Let us know if you guys want us to touch on any other things. We went on a tangent about, obviously, opium exports and how that has influenced pharmaceutical companies in the U.S. and the current opioid epidemic we're going through. So if you guys want to hear a little bit more on that, we could do a little bit more research. Let us know.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Yeonmi Park. If that's how you say her name.
Who is that?
Yeonmi Park is a defector. I
am uneducated on this. Sorry.
She's our age. So I think she's like 27, 28.
Okay, who is she? What like I've been hearing the name a lot, but I have not.
She's a defector from North Korea, so she escaped North Korea.
Okay.
And she ended up ultimately coming to the United States. She lives in the United States right now. But she wrote a book about her life, and basically her journey goes from escaping, or like the atrocities that happened to her in North Korea, escaping North Korea, going to China. Then she went to Mongolia, went through the Gobi Desert.
Okay.
Her and like a group made it through the Gobi Desert.
After escaping Mongolia or China?
They escaped North Korea, and then they had to go through some stuff in China. You know, like they had to like...
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, then she went to Mongolia, but to get to Mongolia, she had to go through the Gobi Desert. Okay, then she made it to South Korea. When she went to South Korea, they said that... Okay, I'm trying to remember her story completely. Like, I'm paraphrasing. Like, you guys need to like go and watch. She did an interview podcast on Joe Rogan. Mm-hmm. She did a podcast with Jordan Peterson. She did a podcast with Michael Malice, Lex Friedman. She made her rounds. She made her rounds in the podcast.
We'll link it in the description as well. We'll link those in the description so you guys can go watch those.
We'll link one of them because if you only need to watch one of them. Okay, basically, she just repeats it. But basically, she makes it to South Korea.
Okay.
Where finally she isn't like in like sex slavery or having to do some crazy shit. She's like finally like
safe,
somewhat normal, and she's like trying to adjust to the world because obviously North Korea is way different.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get into all that right now, but she became, because she's like a good looking girl, right? So she became like what they call.
I don't even know what she looks like. Oh, this is her?
Yeah.
Okay, I get you. Yeah, she's definitely very pretty.
Yeah, so they call her the Paris Hilton of South Korea. She ended up being on a kind of like a talk show or like a news show.
Okay.
And then she gained popularity, and then she got her GED. She went to a college, and then she ended up getting accepted to Columbia University. And then that's when she came to the United States. She ended up going to Columbia.
Okay, and then just recently she wrote a book, and people are starting to know her story.
I think she wrote a book a few years back, actually.
I guess what I'm asking is like, why now? Like, why is she trending? Like what?
Joe Rogan.
Oh, okay. So she
went on Joe Rogan's podcast most recently, and then once you know how it is, you go on Joe Rogan's podcast, everybody knows you.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
She became a household name.
Okay, so that's why I'm like,
because she was on Jordan Peterson's podcast, and she was on Michael Malice's, I believe, that was the first one she did. Michael Malice actually wrote a book about North Korea he had found out about her. He knew about her probably the first, because he's probably knows more about North Korea. He probably knows more about North Korea and not being from there than any other person. He's been in North Korea.
Okay.
He's like one of those. He's like Dennis Rodman, but Dennis Rodman's on some other shit. That was a bad example, but you know what I mean.
He's like Dennis Rodman, but not a complete psychopath.
Nah, Dennis Rodman's dope. Shout out Dennis Rodman, man.
That fool's crazy.
That fool's crazy. Yeah, fuck with that.
You can't be sane in the head and literally be friends on a first name basis with Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, I couldn't do all that either, but I mean, yeah.
Anyways, okay, that's crazy. Well, tell me a little bit more about her story. You said something like you kind of glazed over it.
I mean, because
sex slavery. So like she had to go through, like she was in sex slave in North Korea, or when I
don't know her story verbatim. I just listened to all the podcasts where she was in because I thought it was pretty interesting, and she is pretty intelligent. Like if you really want to like get a grip of like her knowledge on stuff, watch the one with Lex Friedman, because they get more into like politics and they get more into like.
And I assume she speaks English, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So she speaks 3 languages, I believe, from what I remember. But she was sold into sex slavery when she got to China at the age of like 13 or 14.
Oof.
So her and her mom. And then I believe her sister. So her sister escaped first. Then she escaped with her mom. And then immediately, as soon as they got to China, they were sold into sex slavery, both of them.
That's terrible.
And then apparently she was sold for more since she was a virgin.
Yeah. I've heard that.
So
virgins fetch more money.
Yeah. And then I don't really know the details exactly. I just know that somehow she had to go through some more stuff, and then eventually, I think she was still in her teens, she made it to South Korea.
Okay.
And then that's when she had to adjust to normal society. She talks about how she like concepts were really hard for her. Like the concept of like banking was hard like to understand because like in North Korea you didn't have your own money, stuff like that. It was just a shocking interview. You guys should definitely go watch it. It's very
Paul, can you scroll down?
Like it definitely rocks your world. But Paul has an interesting take on it. Go ahead, Paul. If you can you explain to us what you think about her and why?
I don't know enough to really have an opinion, a full opinion on it, but I heard some stuff that like she would like contradict herself in certain things that she said in prior interviews, and then later interviews she sort of changed up,
like hyping up her circumstances.
Yeah, and then
also there's controversy around her.
Yeah, I don't have legitimate like articles to pull up or anything, but I read like other stuff from other defectors from North Korea, and they have their side, and it's not as extreme as she is telling it to be. But
okay, so there's controversy around her like story being, I guess, like legitimate, or like it's probably legitimate but like fully legitimate. Like maybe she had similar circumstances as these other defectors, and maybe a little bit more, but then like maybe she's also, I guess from what you're saying is that maybe people are also saying she's just using it to rise to fame.
Yeah, essentially. Okay. But then again, I read something else.
Okay. So she's a con artist.
Could be possible.
She could be a con artist.
But then North Korea also, they probably have like, they pay people like defectors or defectors to tone it down, you know, like to go out there and tone it down. So that's also a possibility. But that's all, conspiracy.
Speculation.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. Well, I'll have to look into her because that sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
I would definitely like to see like where the points are that she like contradicts herself, and like what people's arguments are to say that she's illegitimate.
I mean, when like I said, I listened to all the big podcasts she was on, and for the most part, I believe her. The only thing that was really hard for me to believe, or where I was like, wow, really, like that really is an amazing story, because like her being in North Korea, like I totally bought that, like the way she makes it sound and the way she puts it, she gets very emotional at one point, especially when she talks to Jordan Peterson. She like starts almost crying, and then Jordan Peterson almost starts crying. It was like a whole thing. And I believed her, but when she starts talking about how so this is her story, right? This is I remember what she was talking about with Jordan Peterson. I don't remember if she talks about this with every podcast, but she was talking about how she crossed the Gobi Desert. Now the Gobi Desert is one of the most uncrossable deserts, unsustainable for life on the planet. It's like close to Siberia.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She was talking about she went through the Gobi Desert, negative 40 degrees, with a group. They didn't have winter clothing, and they had a baby with them, and everyone survived.
Okay.
And so I'm just like, okay. And then she says, and then,
like a miracle.
Yeah, and then when Jordan Peterson asked her, like, well, how did you guys do it? She's like, I don't even know. Like, it was just like one of those things where it's just like the human body is just like, you don't even know, like just straight will. And then like, I'm not saying that it's just very unlikely, right? Like I'm not saying that.
Yeah, like you have to poke holes if you can, because like it's.
If I was gonna poke holes, to be there, like you really walked the Gobi Desert. You know what I'm saying? It just sounds very like fuck. And the baby survived. Like, come on, like let's be.
Paul, 100%. On this article, Control F and see if you can find like keyword Gobi. I want to see if there's like something around that. I want to read.
Gobi?
Yeah,
the Gobi Desert.
To bring up the part in this article that talks about the Gobi Desert.
The G-O-B-Y.
Yeah. So it says right here, when I was crossing the Gobi Desert, scared of dying, I thought nobody cares, but you have listened to my story. You have cared. You would have to be inhuman not to be moved, but you're going to hear a lot of buts, was the story she told of her life in North Korea. Was it accurate? So this article published by The Diplomat is kind of pushing her story to say like there could be a lot of buts in it. Okay, I'll have to do a little bit more research, and obviously we encourage you guys also to do it. But
I mean, like I said, her story is really amazing, and one of the things is that I do think she's very intelligent, and I think she really does know 3 languages. So like that was the part of the story that is probably the most unbelievable to me, But if it is true, it is unbelievable. Even if it is true, it's super unbelievable still. It's like incredible.
Yeah.
Like, how do you...
Unbelievable used as an adjective to describe a circumstance that like she shouldn't have survived but did. Obviously what you'd call like a miracle.
Like, it's like miraculous.
Yeah,
it's like, Jesus Christ, like your life was literally a movie.
Oh, shit. Like that type of...
Yeah, like she's like a 1 in a million person.
Yeah.
Legit. But which could be possible, but the thing is that...
The whole group, 1 in a million?
The whole group, yeah. The whole situation, they were just...
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just that was the crazy part to me.
I don't know anything about it,
but her story is great. Go ahead and check it out. She makes it to Columbia University, and I liked her because Jordan Peterson, he worked in universities. I believe he was a professor at Harvard, and then he's from Canada, so he taught at the University of Toronto. And when she talked about her experience at Columbia, he was very like curious, and because he's an educator himself, so he had questions about like her experience there. He was like, how was your experience at Columbia? You coming from North Korea, being in a Western school, being first educated in East and then coming to the West, how was your experience? And she totally just shit on it. And I thought that was pretty cool because I was like, damn. No, because like, and she did it like in a very articulate, intellectual way. She wasn't just like, oh, this is bullshit. She was just like, everything was so PC that like I couldn't even... Like I
PC
tried to,
here in the West.
Yes.
Okay.
Like she said that she would go to like the first day of class, and they would ask her like, "What are your pronouns?" And she's like, "What the fuck does what? Yeah, like what?
Like why does that matter?
Exactly.
Like people are getting slaughtered in North Korea."
And so like she felt like she didn't get the right education because they were trying to tiptoe around.
Oh,
like she
yeah,
said she was like trying to take a humanity. Yeah, she was trying to take a humanities class,
and it was like them sitting in a circle singing "Kumbaya."
Yeah, basically, and she was just like, "What the fuck is this?"
She's like, "This is not my experience. I lived."
She made Jordan Peterson start crying. Yeah, it was mad funny.
I get it. Okay, I respect that.
I respect that take. I respect that take, and I really do think that she probably did go to Columbia. But the whole thing about the Gobi
I feel
Desert,
like those are easy facts to check.
Yeah, and I'm not saying she's totally bullshitting the whole story. Maybe she just made up the Gobi Desert thing for exaggeration. Who knows? But I don't know. The North, but if what she's saying, I do believe that North Korea really
like
is
white lies sprinkled through her journey to like spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, maybe
it doesn't make the whole thing illegitimate.
Yeah,
I just want to add something. Not to say that she didn't go through any of this. Like total like respect if she did, but like certain things like this, like okay, she was talking about how they were taking care of her dead father's body. Mm-hmm. So she told them that the diplomat that they paid 2 people to help carry his body up to the mountain. And it was windy that day or whatever, and that's what she tells them. But she told other reporters her father was cremated and she had to go dispose of the ashes on her own. So it's just kind of like weird like differences in like what she told other reporters. It's like not consistent.
Okay, gotcha.
So
and that was that part where her dad was in North Korea, so that wasn't because like the Gobi Desert, she was already out of North Korea, so she already had left. But so what Paul's saying is that there's it's not matching up with the story that's in North Korea when she hadn't left yet.
Yeah.
Because her father died of cancer when they were still there.
Okay. Yeah, so I could see how people then like you create naysayers out of people like, oh, she's lying. She's just trying to like utilize that to get some clout, some fame.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. All right.
Wait, did her dad die outside of North Korea? Did he ever get out of North Korea?
I don't know.
Because I remember I don't know. Yeah, it's mad confusing.
Well, it says right here. It says according to sources in the North Korean community, a few years ago, Park told them that she was unable to take her father's body to a proper crematorium, and so her father has relatives in China, helped her to cremate his body, and they all went to a mountain together to bury him. So it sounds like that was still while she was in North Korea, because
I forgot because I remember I think from what I remember she got to see her father before he passed. But she had already been like sold into sex slavery somehow, like.
Well,
I think that the burial was in China
or something. I don't know.
All right,
the burial's in China. Okay, I don't know.
We obviously don't have all the facts.
Yeah, I'm going off of memory. Just watch it. You tell us what you guys think.
Come up with your own conclusions about it. But it's not. I guess the point is that
it is a crazy story though. It's mad interesting.
Yeah, it was that we wanted you guys to be aware of this story that I didn't even know about. So I even got to go do some research on it. But it sounds extremely interesting. All right, cool. All right, so. One of the things that we really wanted to talk about tonight for y'all, because Manny's been going on and on about it. If you guys watched our previous podcast, we brought it up in the hard summer. Saturn. I guess all of the things,
and we're gonna drop a separate video. It's not gonna be part of this one, but we're gonna introduce it on this one. Mm-hmm. So the next, watch out for a bonus clip. It's not gonna be a clip. It's probably gonna be a full length episode as well. Yeah. But it's just gonna be me going off about Saturn, and we're just gonna leave it at that because when we do the video on that, I have everything ready. So we're gonna go off on that.
Okay,
so we'll do that on another one.
Saturn and cubes. Dun, dun, dun.
this dude's bad. I've been showing him cubes all week, and he's like,
God.
"What's up with these
our
fucking
group
cubes?"
chat has been lighting up with just fucking cubes. I'm like, Manny, stop fucking sending cubes, or I'm gonna kill myself. And we're not gonna be able to talk about this on the podcast because you're gonna fucking have to be burying me.
But yeah, that's it. That's all we got for you.
All right, y'all. Have a great night.
Later.